Hello, everyone. My name is Chantal Hofstee from Renew Your Mind. I'm a clinical psychologist and executive coach. And during this lockdown period, we are building what you could call an online mindfulness community of people doing our course online and joining our weekly webinar. And the question I keep getting is, how do we talk to children about what is happening in the world? What is a useful approach? How do we help them understand it in a way that doesn't scare them? How do we communicate with them? How do we help them process the emotions that they might be feeling about all of this? So I wanted to record a short video to address some of those questions from a psychological and a mindfulness perspective. And I think what our children need most at the moment is to feel emotionally safe. And there's, in my opinion, the way that I see the brain and the way that I understand the brain works, there's three things that children need for that. They need information so they can understand and link their emotions to what's happening around them. So they need understanding, and for that they will need information about what's happening. They need validation of their emotions. They need to feel heard, they need to feel acknowledged, they need to feel that their emotions make sense so that the brain can process these emotions and feel emotionally safe again. And they need positive and helpful role modeling from the people around them. Now let me talk a little bit about all three of these. First of all, information. So whenever things change, whenever something impactful happens, our brain needs to understand what is happening and why. Our brain has this built-in mechanism that it perceives something, it feels something, and then it wants to be able to link that. So there is the acknowledgement of the emotion, but then there needs to be a link. As in other words, why is this happening? And I've got three little kids. I've got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-month-old. And the 7-year-old and the 4-year-old are asking a lot of questions about what is this virus, what is COVID-19. They're asking to see videos about what it is, and they're looking for information. They're looking for context. They're looking for, I'm seeing all of this, I'm feeling all of this. How can I put that into context? What can I link it to? Why does it make perfect sense that this is happening around me and this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm seeing? Where is the logic? They want to be able to make sense of what's going on, and in order to do that, they crave information. Now, of course, as the parent or as the caregiver, you want to be really careful with what type of information you allow them to see. You don't want them to see or hear things that will scare them or will give them an unhelpful perspective. But you do need to acknowledge their need for information and their need for context. So what we do, and this is something that I think every family should talk about and think about, is what is age appropriate and what will help calm their anxiety rather than increase it. What is helpful information for them to have? I think the risk is that we have conversations around them that gives them information that they cannot understand, that will increase the anxiety rather than reduce it, whether that's from conversations that you are having around them or from what they're picking up from the news or the media. What we have done is chosen to talk about what's happening, but in a way that is really understandable for them and gives them a sense of calm and a sense of control. So we have watched some educational videos about what is COVID-19, what are viruses in general, and how is our body really, really well equipped to deal with viruses. So they understand, hey, this is what this is what a virus is, and this is what my body has in place to deal with any type of virus. And that gives them a sense of understanding. It helps them understand that even though they have a healthy immune system, it doesn't mean that everybody else has a healthy immune system, but they and we are safe because our body can deal with the situation. And we have all these amazing things inside of us. We call them the good bugs, that will keep us healthy. And even if we get sick, and there is a bit of a war between the bad bugs and the good bugs, in our case, the good bugs will win because we're healthy. And what can we do to make sure that we stay healthy is we eat well, we sleep well, we exercise, and we do things that make us happy. That gives them a sense of understanding, and a sense of control. So they go, oh, there are things that I can do to stay healthy, and I can trust that even though there is this virus happening around us outside, we will be safe. So that's the information part. Now, the second part is the emotional validation. Every child is different, and they have different personalities, and they will respond differently when it comes to how their emotions are being triggered by what's going on. I think as the parent, we need to be really careful to listen and to hear, okay, what emotions does this trigger in my child? And that will be different for different children. For example, my 7-year-old is really concerned about other people. And he's really concerned, for example, he was really upset, concerned about what is going to happen to the homeless people. If all of us are told to stay home, what about the people who don't have a home? Where are they going to go? How are they going to stay safe? Should we invite them into our home? So it's really about not dismissing those concerns, but understanding, okay, this situation for him triggers concern and fear for others. Others who don't have the ways of keeping themselves safe the way that we do. So we talk about that, and we acknowledge, hey, that makes perfect sense that you would worry about that. That makes perfect sense because you're a very caring person. So how can we find out the information? So that's the first element that we talked about, to again create context around that. So there's the validation of the emotion. It makes perfect sense that this is how you feel, that you're concerned about this. Let's find out the information so we can link the emotion to the situation and allow your brain to process it. So we literally called the police and asked them, what about the homeless people? Where are they going to go? And this lovely police officer explained to him they have special funds and special places to make sure that these people receive food and that they are given a place to stay, which calmed his concerns. The same little boy, my 7-year-old son, was also really sad that his dad and some of his friends would have a birthday during lockdown because they couldn't have any friends over. And that made him really sad for these people. Again, acknowledging, hey, that makes perfect sense that this is how you feel about that, because it's not fun to have a birthday when you can't have any friends over. It makes perfect sense that this is how you feel. Now, what can we do? How can we still make sure that these people have a pleasant birthday and feel connected? We can Skype, we can, make sure that they still feel their birthday is celebrated, and we came up with little ways that we could do that for them. On the other hand, my 4-year-old is mostly angry and frustrated by the situation because she is not allowed play dates right now, and she finds that really dumb and really frustrating. And then what you do in terms of mindful parenting, mindful connection, is to connect with that and say, hey, it makes perfect sense that you're super frustrated and that you find these rules really, really dumb and really stupid. And I get it. I understand. Yes, your friend lives just across the road, and how frustrating that you cannot go there and play with her. Man, how frustrating that you cannot go and play with your friends at school. That is really understandable that you find it so dumb and so frustrating. And some people worry that that actually increases that emotion, but it really achieves the opposite. It makes her feel heard, it makes her feel validated, it makes her feel like her emotions have a right to be there. And as a result, they tend to calm down. Now, of course, this comes up on a regular basis, and all I just do is acknowledge that, hey, those emotions make sense. Yes, it is frustrating. Yes, it feels really, really frustrating that your friend is just across the road, yet you're not allowed to go there for a play date. Man, this is boring. Man, this is frustrating. Man, these rules are dumb. And it makes her feel so connected and emotionally safe. Now, the last thing I think, and this might be even the most important one, is the role modeling. How are you, as the parent, as the caregiver, role modeling to them how they should feel about the situation? Children are constantly observing you and picking up the cues about how you feel. They will listen in on conversations even when you think they're not. They can feel how you feel. They can pick up those cues from you, from your body language, from how you are responding. So I think now more than ever, it's important that we manage our own anxieties, our own fears, our own frustration, so that we can stay in what we call green brain, stay mindful, stay present. Doesn't mean that you dismiss how you feel, but it means that you process that within yourself or in conversations with other adults, so that your children don't necessarily see you being super anxious or afraid or frustrated, so that they can see, hey, my parents, my caregivers, they are okay, and therefore they trust that they can be okay as well. Now, all of this is not easy, and we don't have to do it perfectly, but I think being a little bit more aware of what our children need in this time for them to emotionally feel safe can really help us to do that in the best way that we can. We're never going to get it right every day. We're never going to get it right all the time. So look at this with compassion and with kindness, and be patient with yourself and with each other.